All right. So today's session is not going to be a long 1 hour long, but but we'll try to cover up the most of the stuff that we usually do. And after that, we're gonna run a raffle for the certification voucher. So I'm going to share a link with you where you can uh, apply for the vouchers, and the terms are the same. That if you are from our group member, you should not have received any certification vouchers last 6 months, up to 3. You will be eligible for that. So here I'm Google Form. Here you go. All right, so let's get started. So you already know me. My name is Hamza, and I didn't add my intro here. So I'm going to quickly run this up. This three steps to declutter your org. We'll know more about what declutter means and how on your org. You can also try it on your dev org as well. So just make sure that you know the steps to how to do that. So we'll talk about the accessing your org, utilizing tools which may help you. Step 2 is define corrective actions, which includes the maintenance and the re-implementations if needed. And the third step will be the executing your plan, taking the actions against the measurements and all the analysis you have made, and now it's time for the actions. And after that, we'll wrap up and we'll do share. I'll share a couple of the resources helpful for decluttering your org, and we'll do a raffle. So agenda is again resources and QA. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can post it on the chat, and we'll go ahead from there. This is the Salesforce forward-looking. It says do your purchasing decisions on not on the mention, but only with the global availability currently at this stage. So as a Salesforce admin, I mean, how many of these do you? So when I do make time for the optimization, I don't know where to start. Or my users keep complaining about having too many fields on the page, but I don't know which ones are being used. I know I need more maintenance, but the business doesn't make it a priority. I need a trustworthy tools and guidance to help me maintain my org. I don't even know if I am close to the limits of my addition, or I am worried that one day my org is going to grind to a halt because I missed something important. So how many of you are sounds familiar with this? Have you guys have any thought about these? Personally, my personal experience, in the last week, I've been discussing a couple of same scenarios with CEO and my CTO about this most of the things. And do any of these sounds familiar as an end user? If you're not the admin, but the end user who are using the Salesforce on the daily basis to run your businesses. So I don't even know if my sales team uses all the features I configure to help them. I sometimes feel more like data than a salesman. I wish the user interface would match our business processes, or I'm confused about the data and fields that are really needed to run our business. Heard these kind of sentiments from your customers as well if you are a partner, consulting partner, or creating an app for them. Sabashend, I have experienced the same, and by using field strip app, I was able to get a list of fields which are useless or of number. That's excellent. So, but thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, in this session we are going to talk about all of the tools and availability that Salesforce does provides you, and also I'll like to cover the third party tools that also helps you covering these topics. So let's start with the three-step processes that how you can declutter your org. So these are three simple steps that we already covered in the agenda. The first, access your org. Assess it according to everything that you have, and what's is usable, what is useless, and what is making the process hacky or on your for your business scenarios. Then define corrective actions and what needs to be done for what fields, for what component, and then is easy as one, two, three. Assess your org. Consider this is your org, which may have a very large set of fields on the right hand side, if you can see that. Or on the left hand side, you have a very basic, similar, very basic, or maybe the most of the fields available. I mean, the left hand side is showing the lightning experience. On the right hand side is a classic view, which is showing you that how many fields and other custom to have on any of the object. So, which one looks similar to you according to this? I believe we all been here there where we have seen such kind of implementations in many of the orgs, right? So let me talk about this technical depth. That's a really important term. So technical depth is actually is where that you have more of the components available in your org, where it could be having the less documentation, which you don't know how many fields are coming from and which fields or which components are being used for. So this technical term also has a couple of sections that as a bullet point you can see is applications and integration processes that you might have installed multiple app exchange packages, and most of them you are not using anymore, or you're still using, but those app exchange packages have still have some other objects that you're not aware of, or you're not using it. Or you have installed some unmanaged package someone suggested on the Google or maybe Salesforce developer org they have created, or maybe some workarounds that you have implemented, but now Salesforce has given you a proper solution in the new releases. So these all scenarios comes under the technical depth. So these are built up in your org over time, like your org is 3 years old or 4 years old, where you are doing the continuous development over there by adding multiple features for your business use cases. Here you are, so different people are creating different features, and there's a disconnect. There's this X person is creating one feature, a feature, let's say. So X person is creating a feature which has ability to do many things in your system. Y systems comes in after a couple of months, and the implementing the a B feature. As a disconnect, the X person didn't know what was implemented and what fields that there was available, and the Y person started creating the B features from scratch. And this means that there may be a couple of many duplications with respect to the components they're already using. You may end up seeing many duplicate fields and duplicate components, duplicate process builders, duplication flows, many automation that you may see that. So this is also after spending more time on your org and adding multiple features, you may find these stuffs. And once the as more time is getting expended on your org, you may feel that many of the components that you created last year or a couple of years ago, which are not getting used anymore, so which is actually costing you more in overall run, because those fields or components, even if they are getting started with the getting used in any of the processes that are slow, which are not getting used anymore, those are creating actually the heap memory, actually using the memory of your org, and you may feel your org getting slowed down. So at this stage, just to confirm, you guys are with me. You have any questions at this stage? Please use the chat option to ask or share any of your comments. We have around 10 people here who have joined, so I don't mind enabling the audio a video option for all of you. Let us know how it sounds like. All right, moving ahead. So there are forensics tools are available within the Salesforce, which helps you assessing your org, how your org is doing. So you can go to the Salesforce setup. There are multiple features. So there's a Salesforce systems overview, which allows you to see how many API uses you have, how many custom object and custom settings you are using in under your schema, what's the data storage, your business logics, your user interfaces. And also it shows you how many users and portal roles you are getting used, and which with respect to the limits you have. So this is the best way where you can go in your org and see everything in a simple overview, like a simple dashboard where it's just showing you everything about your org, how you is doing. If there is any red alarms, as you can see on the screenshot, there's a red color notification for the Salesforce user. So you're using the 100% of your Salesforce user. So let's say if anyone comes up, you don't have any licenses left. You have to talk to Salesforce, buy more licenses to get your next person on board. So, so this is the perfect place for getting started. So assess your org through this tool and identify what are the red flags, what are the futures. So let's just say you have even you have two more licenses left. Think ahead of one after 1 year. So what's your planning, what's your business use case? So maybe your company is hiring more recruiting more people, and how many people are they recruiting? Are their Salesforce licenses are going to be enough for them? How many objects that you have with a new functionality that you're implementing. You're implementing marketing cloud or maybe the CPQ in your org. You should check your data storage if your data storage is enough for you to store other information as well. So this is the system overview which you should be looking, you actually periodically looking at that, and if assess your org through it. The next one is the schema builder. The schema builder is an amazing tool which allows you to have a quick view of your custom objects and their relationships with each other. This tool, you can do a filter with respect to the different objects. So you don't have to cover every object. You can simply select the customization that you have made recently and just select the customization, the custom objects, and you can see the relationships and how are they being related to that. And once you have the overview of all your custom object in a single screen, you can identify quickly right there that which object you are not using anymore and which of them are you are using on a daily basis. The next one is the Salesforce Health Check. Health checks also comes under the setup, shows you the health of your current org. This does not comes instantly. This when you get into this tab, it takes a little couple of seconds, and then after that it will show you the result of your health of this org. And there you will also find a couple of actions against them. So let's just say there's some cache, or there's some custom fields that are not being used. I'm not sure about custom outpost fields, but there are many tools that many prediction that prediction actually this a health check it does, and it allows you to do a quick fix for them, like like the security app on your phone. All right, the last one is very famous, which is Salesforce Optimizer app, which comes in a year ago in winter 21, I believe. And Salesforce releases this with and actually this optimizer app comes under the the lightning pages, which allows you to have a look at how your lightning pages are doing, and gives you the optimization features that what you can do. It all the missing to that, it also works for the Lightning web components and other custom components that you have built on the Lightning pages, and it optimizes that with respect to that. So these are, the tools which by which you can assess your org, and let me know how many of you knew about them and how many of you use them to assess your orgs. The next thing that you can do is creating a data dictionary. That's a very important thing if you want to keep track of why a field, object, workflow, or any automation exists. That all the dictionaries can all be a Jira or any other software to track all of that. You can still use the Google Sheet or the spreadsheets on your Microsoft Word, spreadsheets, your Excel, to maintaining all of the dictionary. So which you, or there are a couple of as the Sabah mentioned, that there are additional tools available in the market which can help you and find this. And that's why it is very important to add the description while creating a new field or object, because that helps you to maintain why this object or field is getting used in the future when you are assessing your org and identifying which objects and fields are useless anymore. This dictionary should include all of these business purposes, that why we create this object, why we create this automation. The requester as well, that who requested that. There are many people who are managing your org in your company, so you should add that who requested that, either the system admins or who. So if this not getting used anymore, you can go back to the requester and make sure they are also not using it, so that you can freely feel free to remove them. The date, at what date those fields are getting created, you can also get them from the Salesforce fields capture, that create date and date last verified. I mean, once issue this, assessing your or is a periodic um, action. So once after a while, like after 6 months or 8 months, you are reassessing your org, you should modify this field. Okay, last verified on the last September, this field was getting used by the financial team. So once you come up again after the next year in January, you knew that until last September, this field was getting used. So now again, you are re-verifying if this field is still being used or not by the requester as well. And the number of time is being used. So that's a percentage of it. Because let's consider you are using a field which is usually getting filled or used by or a very a simple or single automation that's getting used through that. Uh, and as you know, the Salesforce is optimizing their systems and providing you different new tools by the time on the new releases. So you should consider moving ahead with that instead of the old practices that you have done. Or as I mentioned earlier, so you may have found some other workaround on the Google for your business use case, but now Salesforce has a proper solution and a proper tool to optimize or to complete that this requirement. So you should go ahead with all the all the optimized ways instead of keeping you around with these um, workarounds. So here's a question from Zenabas, that how do you suggest create this dictionary, Google Sheet or in a Salesforce? Well, if you're going to use it under the Salesforce, you're gonna create a new object, those fields there. The the only able to get within Salesforce that you will able to create the reports out of it. On the other hand, is Google Sheet. But as you are assessing your org and trying to declutter it, I don't recommend to use that on under Salesforce, because under Salesforce you already have many of the objects and you are maintaining them. Adding another headache is going to be a headache for you. So use the Google spreadsheet or Excel to maintain all of these and make sure that they are under the same under the safe backup storage like Google Drive or OneDrive, anywhere where you and your team can access them. All right, the next one is, Ravi, how we can check the usage of the fields other than Trip. Are there any other apps tools available? Yeah, there are many tools available. Many of the people can suggest there. So Sabah, if you Sabah have already an app named Field Trip, which can help you identify. And I know that there are many other tools available on the App Exchange. You can simply go on App Exchange and search for that. You will be able to find many tools available, free availability, which you can provide you the fee. All right. So there's a last before moving ahead. There's a last rule of thumb. So consider removing a field if used less than 15%. Say only the financial team is using it only once a year. This means this is because they are not using it very frequently. Either suggest another action. I mean, it doesn't have to be removed. That's obviously based on the business use cases. But let's just say that there's a field which is nobody uses it. Only the one person knows about it, and though that checkbox or that pick list value is not getting used anywhere, so you better remove that instead of keeping them and keeping on your org shoulders. All right. At this stage, let's run a question. So, what is the current? Can anyone answer that? Thanks, Sabah, Rabi, for the conversation getting started. So basically, the current state means, actually, let me clarify more about this question. So, uh, how you think your org is doing after getting to know about this? That there are many tools available for org, and how many of you did to try any of these tools to identify how your org is doing? So it's just that what is your current stage of your org, the org that you are working on a daily basis? What do you think the current state is? Is it optimized or is it not optimized? What you are thinking about it? Yeah, you should use. Yeah, then you should use the optimizer as well for the org. All right, I'm moving ahead with this. So I think you all got the point. So with this, we are on our next step. So once you're done, you have access to all the tools that Salesforce provides you to assess your org. Now the next step is to define corrective actions, which comes under the category of the maintenance and re-implementations. So your the ongoing maintenance. The ongoing maintenance, as I've said earlier, that this periodic action that you need to do after every 6 or 8 or any time that you feel comfortable assessing your org and making sure org is doing fine. Every 6 months or 8 months, keep your org moving forward while cleaning up so that you have all the latest tools that you are getting implemented, and keep your it doesn't mean that you are stopping any of the development on your org. You are keep them doing, but also keep maintaining your org with whatever that is available and that's useless. So in each release, devote and some of the percentage to clean up that work. That's a very good way. So instead of keeping yourself with a 6 month period, do on every quarter. So after each and every release, the Salesforce has 3 releases in a month, in a year. So every time there's a new release, just make sure that you have everything on your org and make sure that the new releases are covering any of the solutions that you are trying to implement in your org. So recommended is actually 10 of your time to devote cleaning up your work that you have done on your org, and prioritize your there's a hectic automation that you have done on some business processes, which is sending the emails to the customer, getting the invoices paid, and there's a very good very complex calculation that you are doing for the invoices. So all of that, prioritize that, make sure that that works flawlessly. And everything that you're cleaning up, you should also retest everything after cleaning it up. And obviously, I don't think I have to say this, but still I'll say it: do not make any of this cleaning right away. Always make sure that you have the sandbox or the scratch docs created already, making sure, the full copy is the best case in this scenario. So making sure that all the changes are you're doing on a full copy. After making all those just cleaning up tasks and everything, make sure that every action, every workflow, any automations, and all your business use cases are working fine on your org before getting ahead with this, with any actions on their production. And also sometimes you'll have to re-implement. Re-implementing means doesn't mean that you will be creating the same fields again and again. No, it means that as you may be getting those workarounds that are having a proper solution, re-implement it with a proper solution available instead of the workarounds that you earlier implemented. So re-implementation may also mean that you may need to pause some of the new feature releases on your org. How many of you can do that? Deep dive on or your org analysis using the tools available, and also go for the Apex Teams packages who can also help you doing more deep dive analysis. Scope what needs to be done and what you need, what can wait. Reconfigure your org and clicks instead of the code. So let's just say you are using the triggers, doing most of your work in your org. Try to re-implement the whole functionality within the flows instead of trigger, because trigger flows are more easy to manage and more easier for your org as well. Because Salesforce comes up with a new optimizations time by time, flows and the business process is getting optimized automatically as soon as the new release comes up in your org. Starting net, net new org is an option. I mean, uh, this I kind of a little agree with this, because sometimes you have a very huge org and they have implemented a lot more things, but due to the disconnect with the different functionalities, you may feel is corrupt windows you in the problem by that time. So getting a new net is another option. So let's just say that you're earlier, like 5 to 10 years ago, you did implement many of the things which are almost available out of the box in Salesforce. So yeah, it's better to not reinventing the wheel and net new, like thing. And sure you have all those business cases running there, and start fresh from there and migrate your data through there, so that you there's less hectic, and dump your old org um, um, once you have completely migrated. And the last is leveraging services and partner ecosystem. That's so you can all consulting to help decluttering your org or maintaining your or migrating or maintaining your orgs. That's the beauty of Salesforce ecosystem. Here our favorite. So Salesforce Optimizer. Salesforce Optimizer is a tool which helps you maintenance and adds the productivity and adoption for Salesforce admin. It provides the actionable cleanup recommendation within the landing pages and helps you make your pages efficiently maintain and customize. Also, decreases the technical debt, and it increases the productivity for admins and the ad users, so because they can do their modifications by their own, and they can also be applied on a specific users or the profiles or a specific org or app. This also drives the Salesforce usage more instead of feeling like you are the data entry operator. How many of you have used this Salesforce optimizer on your org? That's another tool which is which is lacking experience. Readiness check. How many of you knew about it? You can run the assessment of your org using the URL provided is sbc.co/lightning check. Authorize your org, and you can have a complete readiness check about your lightning experience. And this report and also gives you a complete health check of your org. It's usually started with the help of transiting users from Classic to Salesforce, but now it has been evolved in getting help with the readiness check in details. So combine these two tools, so Salesforce Optimizer and Lightning Readiness Check. Once you combine these reports, now you have two reports, right? So combine these reports and perform the gap analysis. That what is getting what is more important to you for that. Plan your role project. Create a project. I mean, the time that's devoted for the decluttering your org. Plan your rollout project and team, and make sure that your plan works with respect to your business use cases, because your business should not getting affected with all of these tasks or this mini project that you are doing under your company. And prioritize your all the actions what needs to be done at this stage, and plan this action needs to be done at what stage. So all the stages should be planned properly and think thoroughly. Only transiting used effectively. That's exactly what I meant. Coming back to the this chat screen and seeing if there are any questions for me. So what's the best practice to prioritize complex areas, by Sabah? So Sabah, the best practice is to make sure you have all the business use cases that are being implemented in your org are listed down somewhere, so you know how many of them are, and also check with your business users, actually also business users and the business makers like your CTOs and COO or CEO as well. Just what are their priority at the moment, and make sure that those complex areas that you are working. I mean, your complex doesn't mean they are complex that you have to which only developers know what was getting done over there. But but it's like what's more important or at the moment. Say your company is getting into a different trajectory, and they are so make sure that the overall functionality through that goal is getting affected, and making sure that that's your prioritization comes from. I hope that answered your question. All right. So I think Zen is asking for Sabah. Or I don't think any of my questions. Great. So coming back to our presentation. So these are a little drop down. I mean the bullet points for the self optimizer. Like readers, let me read that out loud here. So optimizer heavy lightning needed to move to lightning. It eliminates non-essential fields and layouts, automations, etc. Lightning readiness gets into understanding of what it will take to move to lightning. So this is the real project. This is how your project plan looks. But this is that's meant to be there. So first, plan, analyze, design, validate, and deploy. Let me elaborate more about it. So plan. So what needs to be done at what stage? So you're right now, let's say you are removing only these two components from the page because the rest of them maybe using, maybe other teams are using. So only making sure that these two, and also plan for the future releases. Okay, maybe the next release Salesforce is planning to do this. So let's just make sure that next until before the next release, taking all the removing all the dependency of these two fields so that we can remove after we are getting our new release comes up under your org. Analyze your plan, making sure it is doable and how much time it may take you to do your all the migration, because you may be using those fields and you need to keep secure the data that are being used there, and maybe migrating those pickless values or maybe some automations to other transiting. Let's say you are using process builder, now you are moving ahead, so making sure that you have the backup and everything and how much they are usable. Then think of the design now, right? If you're migrating from the process builder to the flows, it doesn't have to be the same way that you're using it, because now you may have a little bit changes in your business processes. So think ahead of it, that what needs to be added or removed from the conditions or any other action that you are doing in the flows. Then plan your build. Once the build is complete on a full copy sandbox, validate it by testing it, test as you are using in your prod. And once everything is validated, go ahead with the deployment in your production. These are these bullet points are very important. So in sponsor, talk to them, making sure that it's okay. Allocate the budget, because the maybe you need to go to the consulting partner to do all of this for you. So allocate some budget for that, for all of these decluttering your org. Make a communication plan, assign the skills and resources needed, because before all of these things, if you're doing it internally, um, think of the solution technical designs before moving ahead. Do the prioritization, success definition, and KPIs. Success definition means that after implementing the whole process, was it worth? Is it successful? How you are making it successful? What is the definitions of success? Then do the training of the new team. I mean, the team should know that what needs to be done from now on, because those fields are removed, right? Black out windows and the post deployment support. So once it's deployed, make sure the team is getting support from you, because you knew that what has been changed. So let's just say that you have deployed everything on a Friday. Monday teams comes up and they didn't know. I usually saw these two fields available on a page layout, but now they are not anymore. Where should I keep those data? So you should train them properly before getting it deployed, and once it's deployed, available for all this, make sure that your team or the consulting partner is available for the post deployment support. Let's just say that there's something getting wrong, something people are, your team or your consulting partner is aware of and can help you resolving all of those issues. What corrective actions do you need to take in your org? As you have been accessed, you know how many of the tools. Now is the question for yourself, that what needs to be done taken in your org. Think of it, make a list of it, and create a simple Google sheet and suggest to your CEOs and CTOs about it. The last and our very important step is execute your plan. So now you have completed your plan. You knew everything. You have allocated your budget. You have talked to your CEOs. They are getting agreed with everything that you are planning to declutter your org. Now the plan comes with the execution. So as we have seen in the action, just create this Salesforce optimizer report. This report will a proper optimization analysis on your current implementation to find ways to simplify customizations and drive feature adoptions. You think Salesforce Optimizer as a part of your monthly maintenance before installing a new app, before each Salesforce, or at least once in a quarter. Salesforce Optimizer's app covers feature analysis and it's in PDF report in more and actionable format. So how you can do this? Go to the Salesforce in a lacking experience, In a setup, search for the optimizer. So there are two ways: either create a PDF or results in a Lightning app, which allow you to access them, run optimizer, and run the optimizer report. The next execution plan, it's actually the execution. Run readiness check. In a classic, go to the search setup and search for the Lightning Experience Migration Assistance on the left side. Click on the Getting Started from there, and there you will find the first thing, which is Discover phase. Click on it and follow through the steps. In Lightning, go to the setup, quick find Lightning, and you will find the Lightning Experience Transition Assistant action item there. This is how you will proceed with your action. So you did assess, then you have made a plan that which tools I'll be using, and at the end, while executing, you will run these tools. So now you have both reports. Now execute your plan. So back up your data and metadata. Make sure you keep your metadata backed up, because there are many. I mean, we have seen earlier many discrepancies from the Salesforce, which may end up a disaster for many of the orgs. Usually, Salesforce does provide the backup and support for that, but it actually affects your businesses for a couple of days, which can be a disaster if it is very a real time. So make sure that you have your data backed up. um, Complete regression testing before getting it deployed to production. Directly access setup to remove metadata. Do not use, I mean, you can use the tools to remove that, but if they are less, let's say a couple of process builders, you can do it through setup instead of using a tool. But if you have like 500 fields, custom fields that needs to be removed, obviously use the tools. Inform end users, that also comes up with the post deployment support, and inform your end users from now on what needs to be done, and restrict access to customizations. That doesn't mean that all of the customizations, but only so once you have done implementing the changes, let's just let your consulting partner know that there are no more customization needed at this stage. Doing it internally, make sure that no one has the access to do any more customizations, or maybe someone end up feeling that okay, this should be done, they will do the customization on a in a directly on production, or in a full copy sandbox and they'll deploy, which may end up again a disaster. All right, so this stage, what action will you take as a next step? Like creating a list of actions or plan and share it with your CEO, thinking of how to assess it. um, um, you know Suggest your CEO or the company owners, or the your big org owners, or yourself, if you are the consulting partner, to assess your customers org and make sure there are all the orgs are optimized, right? So here are the resources and the next steps. So the what other takeaways? Takeaways are assess your org, plan, and execute. These are the three phases of decluttering your org. The tools that you can leverage are run Salesforce Optimizer, create a data dictionary for your org, and use Lightning. Prioritize and address. We'll tap into different areas and address the worst areas first. The resources which are available, so you can I can share this PPT with you. So the right hand side, you can see Lightning Experience Rollout. Read that. Use the Salesforce Optimizer. Read the option, and there's a wonderful coaching session on the org health, a one-to-one. Do the one-to-one expert coaching session with the mentors. So any questions for me? I've been answering your questions while we've been discussing it, but at this stage, if you have any questions, please let me know. Please don't shy. You can use the Google this chat is a message screen to post any of your questions. So if you have any question, we will start with the with our QA. Let me show the raffle. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Ravi. I'll share the PPT with you. Actually, let me do it right away so you can have the. And thank you so much for joining. I hope that you have learned something new, and probably not just something that will help you to decluttering your org. And I am, and here is the URL of this PPT. Great. Give me 1 second to set the ref and making sure that we have got all the responses. Just one thing before the raffle, to make sure that you have provided us the right web SSR email, because of the sales. We should have the latest. I mean, should have the proper web SSR email. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete the. You will be able to use the vouchers. All right, great. We have received the responses so far. Okay, great. All right, guys, just give me a second. I'm just setting it up. All right, I'm sharing the screen with you and running the raffle. We have 3 certification vouchers to give away today, and we are going to have another session next week where will be giving